Hello, today we're going to be installing the Showchrome Accessories Comfort Heated Grips on my 2006 Honda Goldwing. Now, I just recently purchased this motorcycle. It's my first Goldwing, and I didn't realize it when I brought it home, but the heated grips weren't working. I had turned on the seats warmed up, however the heated grips did nothing when I turned them on. In fact, when I turned on the heated grips, my heated seats quit working. And after I've read everything, it turns out that Honda has an issue with the left-hand grip specifically that shorts out, and when that shorts out, then it shorts everything out. And I can still run my heated seats if I have my grips turned off. However, I want both of them working. It's getting winter time and I still want to ride. So we're going to be installing these today to help fix this issue. I hope it fixes it. We'll see. Some of the things that you're going to need to install these are, of course, the instructions. Now, the Showchrome comes with two sets of instructions, one on the back, and that's for 2001 to 2005 Goldwings. Then it comes with a second set of instructions, and this set of instructions tell you how to deal with this system here and removing and reinstalling everything that you need to do. So, and they're pretty good instructions from what I'm reading. Some of the other things that you're going to need is you're going to need a pair of pliers. You're going to need some wire strippers. I've got two different kinds of Phillips head screwdrivers just in case I need both. Soldering iron. And what I'm going to do is, rather than use bullet connectors like the instructions said, I'm actually going to strip the wires and I'm going to solder them and then heat shrink wrap them so I'll have a waterproof connection and I won't have to worry about those connectors coming undone. And then you're going to need some sandpaper and some soapy water, which I have. So sit back and relax while I show you how to install these grips. Okay, what we're going to do first is we're going to remove these end weights off the grips. And I'm going to do everything on the driver's side first, then I'll move over to the passenger side and do that. Just a little easier working at one at a time. So basically, you take your Phillips head screwdriver, and I'm using the bigger one. I brought two with me, a smaller one and a bigger one. I'm going to use a bigger one. And one thing you want to do is you want to grab and hold this end weight. If not, it'll just spin on you. So you grab it, hold it, and unscrew the screw. All right, and she's off. Okay, the next thing we want to do is there's this little trim piece up underneath here that hides the wire coming from this throttle grip. And if you notice, the throttle grip, this wire here has enough slack so when you rev the engine, it doesn't bind on anything. And we're going to have to, when we reinstall this, we'll have to make sure we put that slack back in it. Now, I've already lied to you about the tools. I've already found out that I couldn't get a screwdriver into this screw right here, and I've already taken it out. So I just got me a screw head and a little socket and got in there and it came right out. So I'm going to add a couple more tools on you midstream. And then just take this top one out. And it should give you access, plenty of access to all the wiring underneath here. So we can go ahead and here it is right here. Make our connections. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to unloosen these. One's a bolt and one's actually a screw. This is for the throttle cable here. And we're also going to take this housing apart right here. And the way you do that, there's two screws. There's one up underneath here, and if you feel back here, you can feel where the screwdriver will go up. There's a little place for it. And then you can feel it contact the screw, and you just take it out, unscrew it, and you do that. Also, there's another one back up underneath here. I'll point to it so you can see where it's at, right back here, and it's behind these two things right here, right behind the throttle cables and stuff. Just go right down underneath here, and there's another screw. You're going to loosen those both up and take them out so you can get this handlebar, the old grip off. Okay, the next thing here is you see that this throttle cable for the grip heater wire is attached with this little clip here, and all you have to do is just undo that, and that clip will come right off. There we go. And then when we get done, we can just put that back in and tighten up that screw, just like that. Okay, next we're going to be pulling this bottom part of the housing off and kind of pull it out a little bit. There's some wiring connected, so don't pull it too far, but that should give you enough access. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to be undoing these throttle cable wires, and there's two of them right here and right here, and we're going to use a little pair of needle nose pliers or player pliers, and we're going to pull that off, and then this grip should slide right off. Okay, after we got this pulled down, I noticed that there's a screw that's holding this clamp on, and I'm going to take that screw out so it'll make it a little easier getting those throttle cables off. Just unscrew that, and the top half should come off now, and it'll make it a little easier for you to take those throttle cables out. Okay, in order to get these off, what I ended up having to do is twist this throttle all the way back, and it loosens up this bottom cable, and I was able to get a pair of pliers in there and slip it out. And then for the top, I did the exact opposite. I rotated it the other way, and it gave me enough slack, and I was able to pull it out. So now the cable, or the throttle, should just fall off like that. Okay, and this is what the new part looks like. Basically, they give you plenty of wire here. So what I'm going to do is, since I got a lot of this wire here, I'll snip this up here and do all my soldering and everything, and then I'll just have a little extra wire that I can tuck down in there into this molding here, just kind of hide it away. I'd much rather have too much wire, so if anyone ever had to do this again, they would still have plenty of this wire to still run all their connections. Okay, and all you gotta do is snip this right here, like that, and then we'll strip this wire back a little bit. And go to your biggest thing here. That peels off, and then we got our two wires here. Okay, as you can tell on this new grip, there's a short one and a long one, and basically what I've done the same thing here. I created a short one and a long one. The reason being is just when you're soldering, you want to make sure that when you put your heat shrink on, we'll put a small piece of heat shrink on this one and a small piece of heat shrink on this one, and we'll solder these wires together and then slide the heat shrink over. That's way that there's, just in case the heat shrink ever fails or rubs or anything, the wires won't contact each other. There'll be enough separation and it won't short out. Okay, now what we have done is we have these soldered together, and then we put shrink wrap around it, so hopefully it's a good watertight connection. And we're ready to put the throttle cables back into the grip and then reinstall the grip. Okay, throttle cables are back installed. If you were to close it up together, they both work. You can feel proper amount of tension on here. And what we're going to do next is we are going to button all this stuff back up. Okay, what we want to do is we want to make sure that before we actually put the screws in here, that you get good throttle action, it's springing back properly. And what I did is I used some dielectric grease in here just to make sure that this was going to remain nice and smooth and no binds. Okay, now that we've got it all back together, all the screws in, still we put the bar end back on. I'll probably go ahead and get some chrome ones here, but just check to make sure that the throttle, once you get it all back together, is working properly. It is. It's got the spring back. I've went ahead and run the excess wire down into the fairing here. It's not going to interfere with anything, and wheel turns no problem. And we got that right one done, and this is the hardest one, obviously. That's why I started with this one. Now we're going to go to the left one and knock that one out. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to install the left hand, the clutch side for the grip. And this one is not going to be near as hard as the other one, just because we don't have to deal with the throttle cables or anything. This is the one that likely failed on me here. But the procedure is going to be very much the same except for all the throttle work. We'll take this off first and then work our way down and get it done. Okay, we'll start with this bar end here. Remember, hold on to that bar end so it doesn't turn whenever you're turning the screw. And we'll back this out and take this off, and I'll show you how to loosen up that grip. Okay, one thing that you can do to take this grip off, they're glued on. This one is. So there's two ways to do it. You can stick a screwdriver down in here and work your way around. Or I've also heard that you can stick an air gun like this one here and blow it and pop it off. And I guess we'll see if that works here in just a second. Okay, what I found out is that I got the grip broke free, but the collar here is kind of being a pain. So what I ended up doing is I went ahead and I took this trim piece off here that hides the wires. And I've undone it. I'm going to go ahead and cut this so I can have that already done. So, okay, as you can see, the blowing up of the air did work. I kind of pinched her off at the end, and this end blowed up. Like I said, that collar was hard to break free, but I've got it broken free now. And just pull and twist at the same time, and it's coming off. No problem. And there's that grip. That's probably the one that's been causing me all the trouble. Alright, now that you've got the grip off, I recommend taking some sandpaper and working on the rest of that glue and getting that glue off and prepping it for the new grip. Okay, old grip off, new grip on. Actually, you know, this fits pretty tight once I got it on there. So it says to go ahead and glue it on, but I'm just going to try it without the glue first. I've heard of several guys doing this, and I'm going to try it without first. And like I said, it's on pretty good. Once I get this bar weight on, it should be all right. So I'm going to try it without the glue. Feel free to glue it, and if you want to, you know, you start putting glue on the end of the inside of the handle here, and then just shove it on. And they say once you start putting it on, don't stop, go all the way in. But I'm going to go ahead and try it without and see how it works. Okay, and we got this one buttoned back up. I got the trim piece back on. It's all soldered together. So really, the only thing left to do is to see if they work.